celebrating 25 years of joy. Good evening to you. Welcome to Business Life. My name is Aboagye-Wiafe. Coming up, prices of some farm produce in Kumasi go down significantly on day one of a partial lockdown by government. Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, welcomes recent steps by government to stop further spread of the novel coronavirus in the country. Plus, immigration officials at Aflao returned some foreigners for attempting to use illegal entry points along Ghana-Togo routes to enter into the country. These are the headlines we're working with this evening. We're taking a short break. We'll bring you the details right after this. Now, prices of some farm produce in Kumasi have gone down significantly on day one of a partial lockdown by government. Market centers within some suburbs of the Garden City have had reduced prices of their wares to meet the small number of patrons coming into the market. Kwesi Debra has been following up on the situation and now reports.
At the railway market, all stores are closed, with a few owners who open for business complaining about low sales.
The time I came and I saw one of my customers outside, and she told me that somebody told him that nobody's inside apart from thieves, and I said it's not true and I am coming to work. So she followed me and we came here. When we came, I didn't even see something like that. So I for work there, though people are not there like that, but we are managing small. And to my advice, I can tell some of my colleagues that if God permit tomorrow, they should all try and let's market some more. But if you are even sitting in the house, you won't get something to manage unless you come to the market and get something small to manage.
Some traders also have security concerns.
Brown yes it's me ba and so be any la is something Kenya police for near soldier for send mobile boy home maya kiepe.
At the race course market, business is booming despite a drop in prices, unlike it was a few days ago.
And your cars will be antinefino, and to be a say or market abedidra. It's yes, you near me, so you go on, so I did bet you, yes, I'm for Bahokra, and until you didn't that she buy.
She says because of the lockdown, many people have not been able to come to the market, and they have very few people here, and because their goods are perishable, they would have to sell everything before the day ends. So,
maybe I saw box say about from, and I saw 10 million. Every crown near Nyabi.
Oh, so she says yesterday that it used to go for 1,000 cities, but now you can get it for 800 Ghana cities and also 700 cities. Traders, however, anticipate prices to surge again when households run out of stock after the earlier mad rush for consumer items. There are fears in such situations the purpose of the lockdown could be compromised. Reporting for JoyNews, Kwesi Debra.
Very interesting developments there from Kumasi. Now, don't waste your money to stock up foods. That's the advice coming from the Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Aboagye-Wiafe. Now, this follows some hikes in food prices over fears of a shortage as a result of the announcement of a partial lockdown by President Akufo-Addo. Allaying fears at a news conference in Accra, Dr. Aboagye-Wiafe assured there is enough food available on the market to meet needs of Ghanaians due to the Planting for Food and Jobs program.
In terms of supply and demand, as I've said, seasonally, you expect the end of the first quarter and the beginning of the second quarter of the year to have an increase in prices of food generally, because stocks are very low and and farmers are busy preparing their lands for the planting for the new season. So that is generally what one would expect. But on top of that is this mad rush to stock up, which has actually accentuated the situation. And like night and day, once everybody comes back to normality and the assurance that the food supplies are there, these prices are just temporary. They're going to come down. So those of you rushing to buy at 2-3 times the price of what they used to be, you're just throwing money away, because the food, the stocks will be there in the markets, and the food will be there to the white sellers and the other food vendors, to be able to meet the demands of the poorest in the society and of the highest in the society. Supermarkets are open for food. So we are saying that don't waste your money on unnecessary stocks of food, because the food will be there tomorrow for you. It will be there next month and the month after. And things are getting better in Ghana because of the delivery on the promise by the president in terms of growth of agriculture. And we are on track.
The minister also noted that though there have been hikes on the world market, Ghana is not vulnerable due to measures put in place by government to ensure food security. He insists there's no need to control market prices.
To be honest, given the situation in Ghana today where we are having surpluses, there's no need for price control. It's only the consumer behavior, instant behavior towards the emergency which has caused it, and it's temporal. And I don't know how many people bet anything. I'm prepared to bet that in the next week or two, prices will come back to normal once people realize, like, the essence of this interaction, to assure the people of Ghana, the consumers of food, that there is more than enough food in the system. They don't need to rush to stock up, because this is a war situation. We are talking about just 2 weeks with a possible extension of the movement, depending upon if we are successful in what we want to do. After 2 weeks, we'll be back to normal. So it is a very short period of interruption, and there's no need to stock up. The moment the consumers begin behaving normally, all the prices will come back to their levels.
So we want to get some more thoughts on this, and we're touching base with content manager of our Greek communications firm, Isoko Ghana, Francis Danso, on Skype for his thoughts. Good evening, sir. Welcome to the Business Line.
Good evening, and thank you.
All right, now, so what are your initial thoughts with regards to what the Greek minister has been saying?
Thank you. I think that the assurance should have come a bit earlier, because when initially markets in Accra and some parts of the country were closed down for disinfection, and because of what was happening around the world and how consumers were behaving and the pictures that Ghanaians saw outside, it made a lot of them think that once the situation is not brought under control and then we get to a lockdown, commodity prices were going to go up and supplies were going to be less. And so that created a mad rush for the commodities, and prices soared up. So I think this assurance should have come a bit earlier, so that consumers will relax and know that anytime that they go to the market, they will have whatever they need to buy.
And you believe that is a fact that, because of the planting for food and jobs, we have enough to cater for the population?
Stocks depends on what happens. And I know that during the last planting season, reports indicate that we had surplus. And so if it is there, it is going to help in this situation that we have demand foreign, and that so that supplies can meet the demand.
Now, he also mentioned the fact that there's no need for market control prices. When do countries come in with price controls for food commodities?
in this current regime that we have, Ghana's market is a free market. And if government will want to control prices, then it means that government is going to either set some ceilings that traders cannot sell their goods above. And government will have to also use resources to make sure that whatever prices that put in place, traders buy it. And we do not, I don't think we get to that stage where policemen and soldiers to enforce prices. So I think whatever our government is doing now will help calm down the situation, and prices should not rise once consumers accept that they can always get whatever they want to buy.
Many thanks for your thoughts. Francis Danso is the content manager for Isoko Ghana. On the other hand, the partial lockdown of parts of the country to help contain the coronavirus has also come with some increases in prices of commodities on the market. Among many consumer items in high demand in Kumasi are loaves of bread. Prince Appiah says the situation was serious as all shops plus other vendors ran out of stock. There's more in this report.
Empty baskets. Traders preparing to leave the streets for home. This is not a normal sight to behold on the streets of Kumasi, at least for bread sellers. Our bread has finished earlier than we thought. Some have even sold about 4 sets of the bread. Before, the consumers will ask for a particular bread and whether it is fresh. But today, they don't even ask anything. They just buy. The other brands are also benefiting, she says.
Today market day is very good.
Among the many things that people are rushing in to buy today is bread. Now the new gold on most of the streets of Kumasi where these bread vendors are always found. Ordinarily, most of them would have to spend the whole day for a basket of bread to get finished. But now, within a matter of an hour, everything in the basket is finished. In jubilant mood, Akosia Brago tells me she has never sold all her wares in just 2 hours on any day. She says, I started selling at 2 p.m. today. I had 200 pieces of bread. All of them are finished, and it's a few minutes after 4 p.m. I'm very happy. Normally, even 150 pieces of bread will finish around 6 p.m. if I come in the morning. I'll come back tomorrow to sell, she concluded. Some bread sellers even cannot get supplies from their bakeries. For Vivian Konab, for the first time in many years, she had to comb everywhere in Kumasi for supply. Since morning, I've been to all my suppliers, but they all don't have stock. Bread is in short supply now, and I haven't sold today, she says. This supply van will sell everything in stock after arriving here 30 minutes ago. Most of their baskets now are empty, and some of them are finding it difficult to get supply to feed customers preparing for the lockdown. Consumers, however, say among the many things whose prices have been hiked, bread has been spared.
The price of Gary has really gone up, and I am shocked. But for the bread, the prices have not changed. That is why I have bought more.
As the lockdown takes effect on Monday, many people are expected to continue the panic buying. Prince Appiah reporting.
The Association of Ghana Industries has welcomed the recent steps taken by government to stop further spread of the novel coronavirus in Ghana. In a release by the association, it says the Restrictions Act comes with economic implications, disruptions to business and global supply chains. Nonetheless, the AGI believes government's decision to protect lives through the lockdown is most paramount at this time. Further to this, it welcomes government's gesture to make available a minimum of 1 billion Ghana cedis to alleviate the impact of COVID-19 on businesses, especially SMEs, and looks forward to engaging with government on modalities for effective implementation of this lifeline package. All right, now, so we want to do one of our top stories this evening. Immigration officials at Aboagye-Wiafe have caused the return of some individuals, some foreigners, of course, from Nigeria, Benin, Togo, and Ghana, who are attempting to use illegal entry points along the Ghana-Togo routes to enter into Ghana and Togo. The foreigners say they are aware of the border closure but had to defy the order to make their journey to Accra. They were stopped at Sogakope barrier and returned to the Aboagye-Wiafe border. Fred Duho joins us via Skype with some more updates. Fred, good evening. Welcome to Business Live.
Yeah, good evening, Ima.
So can you narrate the situation as it unfolded today?
All right, so I was at the Togo border today, and I can report that a number of vehicles carrying people to Accra were actually intercepted by the immigration officials at Sogakope barrier, and they were returned to the border. The Aboagye-Wiafe border being the major or the main command for the immigration officials. That is where they have to take them for procedures to begin. And in fact, when these people came in, they have to be screened. Their temperatures were taken by the port officials to know what really is happening as far as this COVID-19 issues are concerned. So I can report that 3 vehicles were intercepted this morning, all filled with mail, with 29 guys. They are Nigerian nationals. Some were from Benin and others from Togo, and they were heading towards Accra today.
Now, so what exactly were they running away or trying to avoid?
Mainly when this guy was interrogated by the officials, they made it known that they were moving towards Accra when they heard of the border closure, but they had no option. They can't return to where they were coming from, but rather to pursue or go to where they are heading. So they actually head towards Accra. And you know, the border rules are such that no matter where you pass, you would have to use the Sogakope bridge before you make your journey to Accra. So no matter when you get to Sogakope, the immigration officials and the police officials are there. They are screening every vehicle that comes. And when they realize there is any foreign national in these buses, they actually bring you down, ask you further questions. When you are unable to answer or convince them, proceed to send this bus back to Aboagye-Wiafe like they do the 29 travelers today.
All right. Now, are you aware whether they've been tested for the coronavirus?
Some of them were checked and their temperatures were a bit high, raising a bit of alarm, but the officials say they'll keep monitoring their condition to their temperatures will rise above 37 degrees Celsius. That has been them. So they've detained them as we speak, and they are monitoring them.
Reporting live from the Volta region. Now, as corporate institutions and other businesses continue to offer support towards the fight against the coronavirus, Cape May Properties Limited has presented a variety of medical logistics to Kolebu Teaching Hospital and the 37 Military Hospital. President Akufo-Addo has asked the private sector to help in the fight against COVID-19 outbreak in the country. CEO of Cape May Properties, Eunice Ajebunsu, says the pandemic has made it necessary for corporate bodies to support government in the provision of adequate health care. With growing numbers of persons hit by COVID-19 in the country, healthcare personnel continue to be overwhelmed by the lack of logistics in the various health centers. In response to the call by government for private sector support, full-service real estate company Cape May Properties has handed over several items including bottled drinking water, face and nose masks, 15,000 hand gloves, a quantity of hand sanitizers and wrapping alcohol, as well as boxes of Dettol detergents and hand washing soaps to authorities of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital and the 37 Military Hospital. According to Chief Executive Officer of Cape May Properties, Eunice Ajay-Bonsu, the health and well-being of doctors and other medical personnel is paramount at this crucial moment. She says this also informed the decision to come to their aid. She promised her outfit further support in future.
As a real estate company, we wanted to figure out how best we can also support the hospital. So we made some calls to the two hospitals. We spoke to a couple of medical staffs, and they mentioned to us that they were lacking PPEs, which is the nose mask, hand gloves, hand sanitizers, and hand wash and Dettol. So we decided to supply them these items to be able to help them fight the coronavirus that just hit Ghana. As much as Cape May have been able to supply these items, if they run out of their supplies and then they need more items, we are just a call away. We'll still be able to provide more items to them.
CEO of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Daniel Sari, received the items on behalf of the hospital.
On this one, you don't need any guns to be able to. You need health staff with specialties who are prepared to face that. And in the course of this, some of them get the disease, some have died in other countries. So it puts some panic and fear in the health staff. But what Cape May have done is that they know, they appreciate the role we are playing at the war front. So this is going to motivate a lot more of this.
And that will be it for Business Live today. Many thanks for your company. But for more business news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business, where we have a lot of headline news on the coronavirus outbreak. My name is Aboagye-Wiafe. Have a good evening.